Hello and welcome to UAT Time within the United Countries Special by First Ukraine. You can find us on the frequencies available on our website firstuat.com. I'm Sergey Velichanskiy.
And I am Olivier. UAT Time is dedicated to bring Ukraine and Europe closer to each other by introducing the real Ukraine to the rest of the world.
Russian propaganda has distorted the facts and the European community is confused about what to believe. Ever since Maidan, many international journalists have helped to spread the word of truth regarding the events in Ukraine.
Our guest today is Mauro Voerzio, journalist from Italy who has been involved in the information war against Russian propaganda.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, thank you for coming. Let's start with a little bit of your background, because what I heard, you are an actual police officer
In Italy, yes.
in Italy.
Yes.
And my question was, so when was the first time that you came to Ukraine?
First time that I came in Ukraine was in 2007.
Okay.
Yes, like a tourist, and I was stay here for 3 weeks. And after I like to match people of Ukraine and the city, and I decided to try to do little business that was a travel agency.
Okay, all right.
And so I'm returned many times in Ukraine, and I have opened this little travel agency. And with the year, we grow up, and after we had the license for tour operator, the accreditation in Italian embassy also for visa,
yes.
and all until the Maidan Revolution, because from Maidan Revolution we continue to work, but you can understand that tourism in these last 2 years is difficult to
Yes.
do.
Now, and we'll come back to this, to the business of yours, because again, the Russian propaganda has done its job in a sense, but a little later. But during this time, you met a girl.
Yes.
And you married the
Yes,
Ukrainian.
in Kiev.
All right.
Yes, in
Okay,
the
so-
Triangle of Bermuda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now when Maidan came, I saw a lot of pictures on your Facebook.
Yes.
Tell us what you felt back then, and why. What was your position? Why did you do what you did?
My position was that was arrived at the time that you understood that the system collapsed. And I remember in that time that many people say, no, it's the normal rally, people are paying, the square will finish in 1 week. But I was in the square, and I understood that was different from the other times.
Yeah.
And my involvement was because I look a reality in the square, and I read on Italian journal and media different things. And so I say, why? The facts are these. Why they say these different things? And I continue to stay in the square, and arrived at the moment that I have understood that this was really revolution. This was history that from many years people who read in the book of in the history. And so I decided to contrast the first propaganda that was born during Maidan in my country.
You know, we have some parallelism between France and Italy with the propaganda, because at the same time we had the same propaganda, and that was a time of, you know, in France and in Italy, in newspaper they they said that Nazism, fascism, that was in the same time, same day, same articles. You know, that was amazing.
Well, pretty much there is a, you know, department that works towards European countries, and they know the similarities and mentalities, and they just
And that was
pour that stuff on.
the same key aspect, the same key strategies,
Sure.
and in France and in Italy, and now and this is now also the same strategy, because now we are not talking no more about fascism, Nazism in Ukraine. Less, we're talking less about that in newspaper in France or in Italy. We are more talking about, I can say, inefficient government, corruption, and inefficient revolution. What was Maidan? What is the result of Maidan? And this is the same in Italy and in France. And I think you can talk about that more because you are also in Stop Fake.
Yes, yes. I'm the editor of Italian Stop Fake page.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, and I believe too much in this project because today, for not only for Ukraine, but propaganda is a real threat for all Europe. Because I try also to explain in some conference in Italy that propaganda, from difference from 20, 30 years ago, now propaganda is used by country like Russia for destabilize other countries.
Yes.
30 years ago, until 30 years ago, normally propaganda regime used for internal affairs. Now is used like a weapon
Offensive,
for attack other country. And so is also a big threat for Europe. And they are organized in technical ways because behind propaganda there is a big team that need to spread up the news, for example. We know that there are the troll factory.
Yes.
But troll factory needs, because it is a technical problem. People take information in the internet by Google. And you need to be in the first page in Google with news because people read your news. But for to do this, you need that many people share your news. And so what they do, they prepare fake, for example, fake news and other news, and they use all troll factory for share and click this news. In this way, Google, after 1 or 2,000 sharing, have a trigger that speed up the information.
So if somebody looks for that news, then
Yes.
that's what they get.
Yes, yes, and I do every time an example. I receive from Google News every day the news with keywords Ukraine. And in the top 10, 5 of these news arrive to me from Sputnik.
Yeah. I'm agree.
incredible.
Yeah. In France, it's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Because they have this big army behind of troll. And they take this news and put and sharing on social network. And many people click, and this news spread up.
Well, if there is anything they do well, that's this. You know, they've done.
You have to know now the target of Putin is the Open Union.
Yes.
The target of Putin is the Open Union. And that's why he is giving a lot of money to extreme right party like Marine Le Pen in France. And he also is supporting the Brexit also with some extreme right party in UK. And he wants to destroy EU because EU is democracy, human rights, freedom.
Yeah.
And we are against homophobia. We are for equality gender. And this is everything Putin don't want to see in Russia.
Yeah.
Freedom and democracy.
Sure.
Now, Mauro, being a policeman, how did you have any background in journalism? Did you have any? How did you decide to become one?
Really, I say every time, I'm not a real journalist.
Okay.
I'm freelance.
Okay.
And I was a needed because I need to for people that stay in Italy, I need to inform what's really happened.
Okay.
And for the first times, will arrive some Italian journalists during Maidan, and I look how they work. And so I have decided, okay, I have my social network, I have contact with Ukrainian diaspora in Italy.
Yeah.
And so I say, why don't try to do information? And I have begun. And after finish Maidan, I have decided to go in Donbass and do video reportage. Are not professional, but is a voice outside the circle of propaganda. And so it's really information, because I try to do also not propaganda. But if we need, we also need to critique some decision of Ukrainian government, or it's not all good, no?
Yeah.
And so this is information. And in the long time, people understand that propaganda is propaganda and lose value. Yes, we need many time. But when people believe in you because you are not propagandist, your voice is sure more hard in the information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And let's talk about, I know you were on Donbass, yes?
Yes,
You is accredited by ATO, for
Yes,
ATO-Zona, by the Ministry of Defense of
Yes,
Ukraine.
yes.
And you did some reportages, and I want to know, you were thinking of this war, this hybrid war. For me, it's a war at first.
Yes.
And I want to know what was your feeling after Maidan? You like a lot of Maidaners.
Yes.
You went to Donbass, okay?
Yes.
And what is your analysis about that?
In these days, is difficult for me, because it's too much different to be in Donbass and to be in Kiev. When you stay in Kiev, you have not the sensation of what's really happened in Donbass. And sometimes when I'm in Kiev, I think, 600 kilometers from here, there is the war, a real war. People die, and big problem for population also. And sometimes I have the feeling, the soul, that not all people in Kiev, in another big city, understand what's really happening now. What was in Donbass? One journalist asked to me, which is the very bad things that I remember from my travel, my trip in Donbass. I say the war, because only one word can, I think, describe what is really happening. War is terrible. And I understand these young boys that go from Maidan to Donbass for defend Ukraine. And I have met also many of these boys when they return in license, and they transmit to me a sense of they don't understood. They say, sometimes I think that these people that are my brother don't understood what I do now. I defend my country, no? But when I am arriving here, it's like arriving in another country.
Yeah.
It's a contrast feeling.
Well,
Contrast feeling, yes, because yes, when we received former soldiers last week from battalion of volunteers, and all the person we can meet now from battalion of volunteers, they say the same, that when they are in Kiev, they think that it's in other country, really, totally other country. But I want to know you now, what can be the future of this conflict, What you feel from the ground, what you feel from the soldiers. They are motivated or demotivated? They want to go more closer to the borders?
No, in the last weeks, I think I have feeling little bit the motivation from volunteer, because they don't understand this situation. One of these volunteers said to me, the situation is there is no war, there is no peace. And
this is Trotsky formula. Yes, that was Trotsky's strategy.
And you understand that a soldier that stay in the trench and wait for the order, and from other part they are organized very well also, and they shoot every day to our soldier, and you don't know what we can do. And I think it is a difficult situation. I think that the way for resolve this is political. We cannot think, I think, to resolve with military way in this moment.
Maybe yes, political and economical as well.
Sure.
So, because the thing is, it's difficult to step down to fight with a bully who violates all the rules. He will win anyway because he is more experienced in violating all the rules.
Yes.
If you, it's like this. What I hear from the soldiers is they're allowed to respond only with like machine guns and all the handheld guns, not with the mortars or cannons and stuff. But that side, they're shelling all the time.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so, I mean, they're playing with these terminologies or different things. They're fooling around with the mission that is observing.
Yeah. Voerzio.
Yeah. So and so it definitely brings discouragement to our soldiers, because I hear over and over they said, I wish we had an order to attack.
Yes, yes.
At least they would see that something is happening. But
and also at the same time, political. You talk about political. At the same time, you have this, this very bad treaty of Minsk.
Yes.
We are talking about political solution, but come on, the Treaty of Minsk is a very bad treaty for Ukraine, and impossible to implement for Ukraine.
Yeah.
And
now,
another thing.
You talk about political solution.
You need to understand also that there is a very bad geopolitical situation in Europe, North Africa, Middle West, and many things are connected.
Yeah.
For example, the treatment that do Russia to Europe is to flow of migrants from Syria that try to destabilize all Europe. And so in this for Minsk agreement, also Europe now have less power to go with Putin and say you need to do this, this, and this, because there is very big geopolitical situation in Europe and Middle West that create many problems to many governments in Europe.
But the situation in Syria was improved by Putin.
Sure,
you know that, okay? Because 3 years ago, France wanted to bomb Syria, and Putin stopped the process.
Sure.
And the result is what we are seeing now: refugees in Europe, and now Putin is using Syria to stop the negotiation Minsk treaties in Ukraine.
But what did you say? You said the situation in Syria is improved by Putin?
Improved by Putin, yeah.
Yes, sure.
It's better?
Improved, the situation, the crisis is improved.
Well, the improvement is something to become better.
No, that's improve the crisis. Improve the crisis. Excuse me. Develop the crisis.
Develop the crisis.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
welcome to the English world.
And it's incredible because in Europe, especially in Italy, many people thinking that Putin will save the Europe from migrants.
Yeah.
But no one stopped to think that if we have 4 million of Syrian migrants that come now in Europe, we need to say to thank you to Bashar al-Assad and Putin for his bombing.
Yeah.
Because the first report of Putin, of Bashar al-Assad is Putin.
Yes.
Then you can see the result.
To me, it's like this. He's making everyone to believe that we're playing chess, but he's playing poker, you know? And so everyone is trying to follow the rules of the game, and he's playing a totally different game. Now, I want to come back to your little, business that you do.
Yes.
Here, we know the situation is not that easy, especially with the currency exchange rate, which cut down on some touristic experiences for our people. But we hope it's going to improve somehow, one way or another. But you mentioned that after your interview on a national TV in Ukraine, the Russian trolls dealt with you. Do you want to share some?
It's normally, they try to do the same things in Italy 2 years ago. When propaganda have no tools against you, against your idea, try to eat your person.
Yes.
And so they don't contrast me what I say about Russian propaganda and other things. They try to say me that I organize sex tourism from Italy and Europe to Ukraine.
They're not too creative. But it's expectable.
But I want to say also another things, because I think that is important and is not connected with my business, because people think, it's your business. No. Tourism is very important for Ukraine because first, keep money from foreign country that come here and go to restaurant, hotel and give work. In the same times, people who come here are testimonial, are against propaganda, because when they return in his country and feel in talk show in television people that say, in Kiev there are Nazis people, they say, you are crazy. I was staying in Kiev, I was staying in Lviv. People live peaceful, are good people. And so if Ukraine can attract more tourists, sure have more people that can witness in Europe that what they say is propaganda and is not true.
I am totally agree with you. When they cannot attack your ideas, they attack your person. And for the Russian propaganda, they think that I am a member of a complot against Putin. You can imagine, that's totally stupid. But I want to come back to your period on Maidan.
Before we do that, I want to share that we are on Facebook. So if you have any ideas or questions, or please let us know if you're with us. Facebook.com/UAT time. Find us and tell us what you think. So let's come back.
You are during the time on Maidan. I was there also from the beginning of December to the end of February, and I was not only on the square, I was on Trade Union House, and also I spoke several times on the scene of Maidan. And I am agree with you but for me, during those 3 months, we have several periods.
Yes.
And what is your feeling about those several periods? Oh, 1 minute.
was the feeling of, I think, many people that was in Maidan. I remember that for the first month, people named Maidan like disco club.
Yes,
Maidan.
that was very nice. Family, children, babushka.
But the difference was the love of 16 January. Then when government approved in constitutional law, and people understood that was arrived, the red line was
Crossed, yeah.
crossed. And from this moment was changed all. After there was Grushevskovo, the first people that died in Grushevskovo. I was on 22 in January
Yes,
in
and you
Grushevskovo.
wrote the book. You wrote the book.
Yeah, you book
Yes,
The Angels of
yes.
Maidan.
I have wrote this book only for witness what happened in Maidan, because no one editor in Italy published me this book, sure, and I have published only like a book on Amazon.
Okay.
Because I wrote and published it.
So it's an electronic book.
Yes, it's an electronic book.
So people can download it and read it.
Yes, if they want. Yes.
Good. All right.
And,
Please give the title of your book.
in Italian is Gli Angeli di Maidan, the angels of Maidan.
Is it translated in English or it's
No, only
it's in Italian?
Yes, yes.
All right.
I wrote only
Well,
in Italian. And,
Google Translator
Yeah.
will help. No. Okay. Well, our time is up.
We are at the end.
Unfortunately, but we
Very
will
fine,
definitely, we can have you, especially if you have some video reportage and from
We
the
can
ATO
share.
zone, we can have you back in a couple of weeks, and we can prepare some video show within our program.
And we can improve our English.
Improved. That's when you use it. Yes. All right. It was United Country UAT time by First Ukraine. Our guest was Mauro Voerzio, journalist from Italy who has been involved in the information war against Russian propaganda.
Olivier Vedrine and Sergey Velichanskiy were working for you in the studio. Stay with us and we show to you the Ukraine.
Thank you for being with us. Have a good day and see you soon.
See you soon.